Hello, this is Tom from antiproton.com. I've had a little bit of sleep. I just took a shower, so my hair's completely soaking wet and I look kind of strange right this moment. But anyway, I wanted to kind of bring you up to bring you up to speed on a few things that are going on right this particular moment. I've been getting a lot of my news from world-nuclear-news.org. They seem to have about the best coverage because they have the most scientific coverage. They give you actual real numbers, not just it looks like a lot of radiation. They tell you in microsieverts, counts per minute, that sort of thing. And I've also been keeping watching the actual releases from the Tokyo Power Company, where they're actually stating the exact status of the cores, not just what you get off of Fox and CNN. I mean the real actual status. Currently put, the second plant isn't mostly under control. Everything seems to be fine. Gas is being vented. I think they actually stopped venting gas. Let me double check. I think they did. Looks like they did, yeah. Okay. Of the 6 units that are at, what is it, Fukushima Daiichi, I never get Daiichi right, nuclear power station. As you know, Unit 4, and I'm looking at the release right now, and this is at tepcode.co.jp. Units 4, 5, and 6 were already completely off. So nothing is going on with them. Nothing was going to go on with them. Reactor 1 is shut down. They're still inspecting it, and they are still injecting seawater and boric acid. As you know, boric acid absorbs neutrons. So, also, actually, boron absorbs it, but boric acid dissolves nicely in the water, so that's why they're using the acid. The fact that it's an acid has nothing to do with anything, except its ability to dissolve into water. Let's see, unit number 2 has been shut down. Reactor water level is lower than normal, but it's steady, apparently. Let's see, they're blowing off steam, so to speak, letting steam out. Although I read a report someplace, and I can't recall where I read it, that they were pumping seawater into 2 as well, but I'm not sure if that's correct or not. Reactor number 3, this is the high pressure core injection system. That would be the thing that blasts water into it normally, because your pressure can get up, like, you know, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of kilopascals, so you have to inject it. Let's see, that's not working. It was interrupted. Let's see, spraying in order to lower pressure level within the reactor containment vessel has been cancelled, so who knows why they cancelled that. Looks like the safety relief valve has been manually opened, so they're lowering pressure by blasting it out into the air. That could be where some of the contaminant is coming from. The contaminant that keeps being seen all over the place. Now, that contaminated material that they're getting out should not contain cesium or iodine or any of those other type of things unless the actual core has melted down a little bit. And we are seeing cesium and iodine getting out, so that tells anybody who does anything with nuclear things that the actual core has probably been exposed to the air for a short time. It gets incredibly hot, ridiculously, ludicrously hot. Okay, casualties at the plant. That one poor guy was exposed to, God, what was it, like 102 millisieverts? Oh my God. Looks like 2 workers have been injured. One has been let off with his hand on his chest holding it. Subcontractor was taken away in an ambulance. A couple more workers were injured during the explosion. One guy was killed. I know, I don't see that on here anymore, but I know he was. Anyhow, now if you look over at the website for World Nuclear News, they have an article called Contamination Checks on Evacuated Residents. They are doing checks of people, and it says right down here, oh my God, it says one person measured to have an exposure of 18,000 counts per minute. 18,000 CPM. That means 18,000 little particles of whatever, be it alpha, beta, gamma, probably not X-ray. That's usually not something you would find. In fact, you would never find that on a person's clothing. But alpha, beta, and gamma for sure. At least 18,000 of them approximately per minute were read going through the actual Geiger-Müller tube that they used to examine them. I assume they're using a Geiger-Müller tube. There's a couple other ways they could do it, but that's the most likely. Another person had 30,000. Another person had 36,000. Another one had 40,000. Oh my God. on my Geiger counter, 40,000 counts per minute would be 40 millirenkins, which is close enough to a millirad. Millirad, stupid. Millirem, sorry, I always mix stuff up. Anyway, but of course that's not quite accurate because, as you know, with you have to take into account like where the body is being absorbing the radiation in those cases. It'd be simpler just to say that that would be 400 on my Geiger counter. That would be 400 microsieverts. Now my Geiger counter is actually configured for cesium-137, and this might actually be cesium-137, so this could actually be accurate. But that's my math. Don't base anything on that. But based on the site here, who does have very accurate information, it looks like a fourth person gave off 100,000 counts per minute. But a second measurement was taken after the person removed their shoes, and it was just under 40,000. So that tells you something right there. They're stepping in it. It's not on their clothes, but they're stepping in it. That means that it got onto the ground and didn't get on their clothes, which means that it probably came from one isolated incident, landed, and then they walked on it. That's a reasonable assumption, right? Basic science, reasonable assumption. It's really more of a hypothesis. But if that's the case, that would be good, because that would mean a single event occurred, not a continuous event. Keep in mind the reactors are not burning. In Chernobyl was like the world's largest dirty bomb. Basically, it just blew up in the air and went everywhere. Right? That's what happened at Chernobyl. 3 Mile Island, it was contained inside its little containment jacket like it's supposed to be, and it melted down sort of inside of there. Again, not very much got out. Well, I shouldn't say again. Crapload got out at Chernobyl. Well, in this case, not very much came out, so you get the idea. Another interesting one, I was quite interested, this was actually brought up. Where did they bring it up? Was it brought up down here? Oh, by the way, that was 106 millisieverts that one worker picked up. There's actually been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This would be, to my knowledge, the 5th nuclear reactor in the world to melt down. Reactors 1 and 3 here, assuming that is fully a meltdown, and they've confirmed pretty much that 1 did. They're not sure if 3 did or not. Chernobyl, 3 Mile Island, and what's that other place called? The one in England that actually went off, and like nobody knows about it. It's hysterical. They had an air-cooled reactor in England in the 1950s. That has got to be the stupidest thing I've ever heard of in my entire life. Oh my god. I'll let you know the name of it if I can remember it. I saw it in a random article here, and I'm thinking to myself, wow, I remember that. I learned about that like 10 years ago, but nobody knows about that for some odd reason. Anyway, the fight right now is to make sure that the water continues to pump in the core, and that the temperature drops down, and that it stays cool during the time that the decay products are, well, decaying. Keep in mind that they have a half-life, which is a period of time such that the probability of what the hell is it? Ionizing decay occurs, such that 50% of the material is decreased as a result of it. So if I took a big block of, let's say, 1 kilogram of cesium-137, I would like to know that in whatever its half-life is, that approximately half of that has become not radioactive. Well, that's not really true. It has become something else, and oftentimes these things actually decay into something else that's radioactive. They tend to go in chains. Often you'll see something that's really, really, really radioactive for a short time, then something that goes for a really long time but not very radioactive, and then switches for just a second back to something really radioactive, and they tend to flip-flop. It's not always the case, but it tends to be. Like the radioactive half-life of uranium is friggin', oh god, it's ridiculous. It's like, what is it, 4 billion years or something? It's some ludicrous sum of time. But there are isotopes that have only a few seconds. By the way, I apologize for the light on the top of my head. It's sort of weird. My beard's all frazzly too because I just got out of a shower. I can talk significantly faster and relatively more accurately when I'm actually, awake, which is nice. Having some sleep was really, really useful. But you should definitely, I'm running out of time, definitely go to World Nuclear News. That's world-nuclear-news.org, and they have the best articles I've seen so far. And Ellipser Drive too. But I will keep you up to date on what's going on as best as I can. So, bye-bye.